The wedding guests thought they were about to witness the happiest moment of a young woman's life. The flowers were fresh, the music floated gently through the bright daytime air, and every seat was filled with smiling faces. But within seconds, the celebration turned into stunned silence. The groom walked into the wedding venue with another woman by his side, proudly introducing her as the person he truly loved. He expected tears, shouting, and complete humiliation from the bride. Instead, she did one thing so unexpected that every single person in the room would remember that day forever. Before we continue this unforgettable story, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes in kindness and second chances, and subscribe to the Kindness Tales Story channel. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories that touch hearts around the world. The morning sun shined brightly over the countryside estate where every chair had been carefully arranged beneath white canopies. Gentle breezes carried the scent of blooming roses across the garden while families laughed together, unaware that the carefully planned celebration was moments away from becoming a life-changing lesson about dignity, courage, and self-worth. The bride was 28-year-old Maren Holloway, a thoughtful elementary school teacher known by everyone in her town for her gentle smile and generous heart. She had spent years believing she had found the man she would grow old beside. Her fiancé, 31-year-old Coulter Wynne, worked as a successful marketing executive whose confidence often impressed strangers even though it sometimes worried the people closest to him. Maren ignored many warning signs because she believed love required patience and forgiveness. Every cancelled dinner, every broken promise, and every unexplained late night was quietly buried beneath her hope that marriage would strengthen what had begun to weaken. Maren's parents had sacrificed much to create the wedding of her dreams. Her mother stitched small details into the decorations by hand while her father worked extra weekends to help pay for the beautiful outdoor venue. Friends traveled from distant cities, bringing thoughtful gifts and heartfelt blessings. To everyone watching, it looked like two families were about to become one. Yet behind the perfect photographs was a painful truth. Only days before the ceremony, Maren had discovered strange messages on Coulter's phone. The conversation suggested he had grown close to another woman named Celine Voss, a stylish event consultant who often attended business gatherings with him. When Maren confronted him, he brushed the messages aside with convincing excuses. He insisted they were only discussing work. He spoke with such confidence that Maren questioned her own instincts instead of questioning him. As the ceremony began beneath the clear blue sky, guests stood smiling while soft music welcomed the bridal procession. Maren walked slowly toward the altar wearing a simple white gown that reflected the morning sunlight. Every step carried years of dreams and silent sacrifices. She searched Coulter's face for reassurance but found only an unusual expression she couldn't understand. Then everything changed. Before the officiant could begin, Coulter raised his hand and calmly announced that everyone deserved to know the truth. Murmurs spread through the audience as another woman stepped forward from the front row. Celine approached confidently wearing an elegant cream-colored dress that looked almost like a wedding gown itself. Coulter proudly wrapped his arm around her shoulders and declared that he had realized she was the woman he truly wanted. He explained that he couldn't continue pretending and believed honesty, even at the last moment, was better than living a lie. Gasps echoed throughout the garden. Several guests stood in disbelief while others covered their mouths. Maren's father clenched his fists. Her mother struggled to remain standing. Friends expected Maren to cry, scream, or collapse under the unbearable weight of public humiliation. Instead, she remained perfectly still. For several quiet moments, Maren looked at the crowd rather than at Coulter. She slowly inhaled, straightened her shoulders, and smiled with remarkable calmness. It wasn't the smile of someone who had lost everything. It was the smile of someone who had suddenly become free. She politely asked the musicians to continue playing the gentle instrumental music. Confused but respectful, they obeyed. She thanked every guest for traveling so far to celebrate what they believed would be a marriage built on honesty. Then she admitted that perhaps the wedding was still serving its true purpose after all, because sometimes the greatest gift is discovering the truth before making the biggest mistake of your life. The crowd fell completely silent. Instead of arguing with Coulter, Maren turned toward the catering staff. She thanked them sincerely for their hard work and asked everyone to enjoy the meal that had already been prepared. She announced that no delicious food would go to waste because sadness should never destroy generosity. Children laughed again as servers began carrying meals across the garden. Older relatives wiped away tears, amazed by the grace she showed under unimaginable pressure. Coulter's confident smile slowly disappeared. He had expected anger. He had expected dramatic scenes that would make him appear justified. Instead, Maren refused to become the villain in someone else's story. She quietly removed her engagement ring, placed it on the ceremony table, wished both Coulter and Celine a future filled with the honesty they had denied others, and stepped away from the altar with her head held high. Guests who had originally come to celebrate a wedding unexpectedly formed a path of applause. It began with one elderly woman softly clapping through tears. Another guest joined. Then another. Within seconds, the entire garden echoed with heartfelt applause that followed Maren as she walked away beneath the bright afternoon sky. That applause became louder than any wedding vows ever could. In the weeks that followed, videos recorded by guests spread across social media. Millions watched the remarkable moment when a heartbroken bride chose dignity over revenge. Messages of encouragement poured in from strangers across different countries. People admired not only her strength but also her refusal to let bitterness define one of the hardest days of her life. Life, however, was still difficult after the cameras stopped recording. Returning to her quiet home each evening reminded Maren of dreams that had vanished overnight. Wedding gifts remained unopened in boxes. Her dress hung untouched inside a garment bag. Some mornings she questioned whether kindness had made her appear weak. But every school day reminded her why compassion still mattered. Her young students welcomed her with handmade drawings, cheerful hugs, and innocent questions that slowly repaired the broken parts of her heart. One little girl gave Maren a folded paper heart decorated with colorful crayons. Inside, the child had written that heroes are people who choose to be kind even when others are not. Maren carried that paper heart inside her purse every single day. Inspired by everything she had experienced, she began organizing free weekend workshops for young adults about confidence, healthy relationships, and recognizing emotional manipulation before it became permanent. Attendance started with only a handful of people sitting inside the local community center. Within months, the room became full every weekend. People didn't come because Maren claimed to have perfect answers. They came because she spoke honestly about pain, disappointment, healing, and hope. She reminded everyone that forgiveness does not always mean allowing someone back into your life. Sometimes forgiveness simply means refusing to let another person's choices steal your future. Meanwhile, Coulter's new relationship quickly began revealing the same patterns that had damaged his previous one. Friends noticed growing arguments, broken trust, and endless misunderstandings. The excitement that once seemed thrilling slowly disappeared under the weight of dishonesty. People who chase happiness through betrayal often discover that betrayal follows them wherever they go. Months later, Coulter unexpectedly attended one of Maren's public charity events. He looked older, quieter, and far less confident than the man who had once stood proudly at the altar. He approached carefully, hoping perhaps for another chance or at least some form of comfort. Maren listened respectfully. She wished him peace, encouraged him to become a better person, and sincerely hoped he would learn from the consequences of his choices. But she also gently explained that some doors close forever, not because of hatred, but because self-respect finally learns its value. Then she walked away. There were no dramatic speeches. No revenge. No insults. Only quiet strength. The people standing nearby understood they had witnessed something even more powerful than forgiveness. They had witnessed a woman who refused to sacrifice her dignity for someone who never appreciated it. As another year passed, Maren's workshops expanded into neighboring towns. Volunteers joined her mission. Couples attended together to strengthen healthy communication. Teenagers learned to recognize warning signs before entering unhealthy relationships. Parents thanked her for helping protect the next generation from emotional harm. The wedding that had once symbolized heartbreak gradually became the unexpected beginning of thousands of happier stories. One bright spring afternoon, while visiting a community literacy event, Maren met Rowan Mercer, a thoughtful architect who volunteered every weekend reading books to children. Unlike flashy gestures or impressive speeches, Rowan expressed kindness through quiet consistency. He arrived when he promised. He listened more than he spoke. He respected people without expecting praise. Their friendship developed slowly, built not on fantasy but on trust. For the first time in many years, Maren realized that real love never demands someone to ignore their worth. Genuine love protects it. When Rowan eventually asked if she would like to build a future together, there was no grand audience, no expensive decorations, and no perfect performance. There was simply honesty beneath a peaceful daytime sky, and that honesty meant more than any extravagant wedding ever could. If this story has touched your heart so far, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Tales Story. Your support allows these meaningful stories to reach people who may need encouragement more than we realize. Special request. Before this story ends, comment below with the words, "My dignity is my strength." Your words may inspire someone reading the comments who is struggling to walk away from a painful relationship. Years after that unforgettable wedding day, many guests admitted they barely remembered the flowers, the decorations, or even the expensive venue. But every single one of them remembered the quiet bride who chose grace instead of revenge. They remembered the applause that echoed through the garden beneath the clear daytime sky. They remembered that true victory is not proving someone else wrong. It is refusing to become someone you are not. Marin lost a wedding that day, but she found something far more valuable. She found herself. And once a person discovers their true worth, no betrayal can ever take it away again.